Well, hello there. We have reached the end game. This is the final episode of the William Hill Square Ball podcast, and what a run we've had in this season 2. We're going to bring the curtain down on what's just been a brilliant few months. We brought you some unbelievable conversations with some greats of the GAA, from Peter Canavan to Jimmy Barry Murphy to Owen Kelly and Tommy Walsh and Kieran Whelan. And that's only to mention a few. That's just a drop in the bucket. As always, we'd encourage you to go back and listen to all the episodes from this season. We've had so much fun bringing these episodes to you. We hope you've enjoyed listening to them as much as we've enjoyed putting them together. What a reaction to last week's penultimate episode with Tipperary's All-Ireland hurling winning captain Ronan Marr. So much conversation generated off the back of it on all of our social media channels. So many of you have been in touch with us, which we really appreciate. Would you believe it? Just at the very end of season 2, we're a fraction shy of 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And there are so many more of you watching us on YouTube every week than have actually hit the subscribe button. So we encourage all of you, if you're watching us every week, please hit that subscribe button, get involved in the conversation, leave us a couple of comments on what you've been hearing and watching over the last few months. You can also get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at William Hill Ireland, and of course on Spotify. Subscribe there too, leave a comment or two if you wish. Delighted again that we are joined by Darren O'Sullivan in the co-host chair, as he has been here on so many episodes this season. How are we doing?
Oh, good, no.
You brought a friend with you today.
I did. Brought a good guest up with me.
Well, our long-term viewers and listeners will remember that we bowed out in season 1 in style. Joe Canning, one of the greats of the game. And we're going to do something similar today, because on the back of having Ronan Marr, an All-Ireland hurling winning player with Tip, we've got an All-Ireland winner from just a few days ago at Croke Park. We're absolutely delighted to be joined in studio by two-time All-Star, going to be three-time All-Star rather, it's going to be 4 by the end of the year, two-time All-Ireland medalist, a man who's becoming a great of the game himself, one half of arguably the deadliest brotherly duo in the history of Gaelic football. It is Paudie Clifford. You're very welcome to the Square Ball.
Cheers, thanks.
Thanks a million for coming up.
No matter, yeah.
Obviously winning All-Irelands with Kerry, winning Junior Club All-Irelands with your club, winning All-Stars. There was a privilege and an honour with that, but getting to bring the curtain down on season 2 of the Square Ball, you've made it now. Like, this is the pinnacle.
To be fair, there is some big names. There's all the big names of the previous 20 years probably that you have interviewed. So, well, not all of them, a lot of them. So, yeah, it is an honour, yeah.
So you're looking at the list thinking, right, well...
He's one of the guys who hasn't pressed subscribe.
Yeah, is that are you in the list of people where I'm begging to subscribe on YouTube that have been watching but lurking? You're lurking on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Good man.
Then hard to get.
How have the last few days been for you? Week and a half on from the Donegal game.
Yeah, it was great, obviously. Great to get the performance that we did, but also we had a great few days just celebrating with our friends and the supporters who were a massive help to us from the quarter-final on. So yeah, no, we really enjoyed it. We had great crack. We kind of covered all the big towns and kind of went from there, yeah.
So is it like, it's a day-to-day thing? Who decides who's going where and where Sam Maguire's going to end up, say, by the time you get to the Wednesday night, the Thursday night? Is there an itinerary, or is it a bit of kind of an ad hoc more of a thing?
I think there's probably an itinerary. I wasn't involved in it, no, but I just went where they told us. But we went to Clarny Monday and went to Tralee, so there were massive turnout for the homecomings. Tuesday then we went to Donegal, Wednesday Kenmare, and Thursday Tralee, so kind of covered everything. And no, we had great crack, but we heard sad news on the Monday. Jamie Doolin, a former Crokes player, passed away, so that put everything into perspective, and I suppose affected a lot of the Crokes lads. Patrick O'Sullivan, the chairman, and I would have played soccer with Jamie, so I knew him well as well, so that did put everything into perspective.
At what point, when you get to like kind of deep into the week, are you thinking yourself physically and emotionally, and you can probably come in on this as well from your experience, Darren, I can't do this anymore?
Friday for me.
Has to yell stop here at some point.
It was Friday for me anyway. I was struggling on Thursday, but I said I'd go to Tralee for a bit. But after that, then Friday, I was done. Yeah,
that's fair stamina. we used to get the train down. You're more the bus now, but the train down used to be death's door. First night, I swear to God, I was fine once I got through the first night. Dying the next day. But the Monday after the All Ireland, oh my God, I I mean,
Like the day after the game.
day after the game, I don't know, is it dehydration or you'd be a good couple of weeks without touching a drop. I used to be the next day dying, like pathetic stuff. Like,
But the next day, there's cameras everywhere, isn't there? Like, off to some of you might go to Crumlin Hospital or Temple Street Hospital, and there's a lot of media milling around the hotel on the Monday morning. So you kind of have to be, in some way, able to hold on to your,
you
your
can
faculties.
cover it, but for small periods at a time.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of energy drinks being drank and salty potatoes, but and Panadols. But yeah, no, geez, I used to be dying. But you'd be well shook after a week. Then you go back training with the club or whatever, and you've forgotten how to coordinate your body. It's like you were away from football for 2 or 3 weeks. I think the boys are different now, though.
When is your next game or the first game of the championship? With
Saturday now.
Saturday coming.
Yeah.
And have you had any training sessions yet?
I haven't, no, but I'll go down now tonight. Still kind of
some of that dirty
still
diesel out.
Yeah, exactly. Still nursing the hamstring a bit, so I'll manage it until Saturday now and be ready to go again. Yeah.
Tell me, kind of big picture, how the 2 wins, 22 and this year compare for you on a personal level.
For me,
it's the
this
first
is
one without your mum since your mum passed. Like, has that kind of played a part in this year's one?
yeah, definitely. This one is feels a lot more special, but I think we were kind of talking over the last few days, just different lads in the team, but everyone was saying that this one has been way better because I suppose we've kind of been through a lot as a team since 2022, and we feel we've, I suppose, learned a lot and matured as a team. Whereas probably in 2022 we probably thought, oh, this is probably going to happen every year, but then we realised it's a cutthroat business. There's just so many top teams, and it showed that there were 7 or 8 teams that would have fancied their chances of winning the All Ireland. So yeah, I know this has been unbelievably special, especially being rode off a bit and to come back and beat 4 Northern teams, but 3 of the Northern heavyweights was special. Yeah,
We'll get into the game in a bit more detail as we go on, but it's interesting, Darren. Kerry been written off. We're going to talk about that too, but it wasn't so long ago, maybe 7 weeks before the All Ireland final, and certainly the days after you were beaten by Meath, everyone still can't pick a winner. Every time I spoke to you, we're like, I don't know, Galway are still hanging around. They might make a late run. Don't write off the Dubs. Tyrone are coming, another under 20 All Ireland. Donegal are playing so well. Armagh, the All Ireland champions. And you could throw a blanket over 5. Some people were even whispering Monaghan might take out one of the big guns. And then ultimately, Kerry win. It's like Real Madrid with the Champions League. Kerry win by 10 points, beating the 3 Ulster teams. 4 if you throw in Cavan. It's almost like you played your own mini Ulster championship. And they're so far away from everybody else. No one saw or envisaged us being in that position 7 weeks ago.
Yeah, like I think the beauty of the championship this year was that it was very hard to call a winner, and in fairness to the lads, from a outside point of view, kind of going, oh, they're going through the motions, they're getting there, and then obviously the defeat happened, and as we do very well in Kerry, we turn on each other and we, as small as say, hammer to hammer. And it was a case of, like with that team, like it was a case of this going to go either one of 2 ways. The boys are getting abused and they're down a rake of bodies. So let's see what's going to happen. And it's something I actually think Kerry do very well. They kind of batten down the hatches, and it's kind of like an FU to the rest of anybody outside of our circle, and they came together. And do you know what, it was actually funny, the Armagh game gets all the talk, and it was the Cavan game that I kind of look at, and the first couple of minutes of that game, Paudie, you'd probably say it, Cavan came and they were just flaking, and I was like, oh, is it going to be this kind of game now? And after about 10 minutes I noticed that it wasn't Kerry lads hitting the deck, there was a lot of Cavan lads staying down for longer, and all of a sudden,
it was a hot day, wasn't it?
Was.
They started flaking, and that was the little turn I saw, because the boys initiated a bit of rough stuff, and within 10 minutes it had stopped on their part, because Kerry kind of said, we're not taking this. All of a sudden it was the Cavan lads going down, and they were staying down. So that was the kind of turn, and to be fair, the form after that was outrageous. But there was a connection you'll probably talk about a bit later, Paudie, but I noticed it coming out after the Armagh game. Might have said it in the previous. that there was I was coming out of the Hogan stand and there was a big Kerry crowd waiting for you to come out, and there was 4, can I call them seasoned campaigners, 4 ladies outside waiting, and I mean the head to toe in Kerry gear, and they were so giddy waiting for the teams to come out, and I got a buzz off it, and I was there going, there's something building here now, and you probably would have got it when you came out and saw the reaction, and I came away from that game going, as a supporter now, there's a bit of giddy up now on me, like you're buzzing for you, but you could feel the connection going, because I like the fact that Kerry get abused, to be honest, and I actually think it's important for the team sometimes to get that bit of abuse, is the only word I have for it, to be honest, to be kind of poked and prodded, because I always think it brings out the best in a lot of the players, and you could see that as well. And a lot of the games you were actually missing, and I would have always described Paudie and Shawnee as one of them as well, 2 spiky characters who don't mind when it gets rough and it gets tough going, and you'll be a good fella to stand up. And like, there was a few games now when things got rough, the first man in was Paudie, and I was there, we rubbing the hands together on the sideline, because you get the rest of the team going as well. Like, so I actually think it was the Cavan game and the first 5 or 10 minutes that kind of got the season back on track.
So take us back to the Meath game. Kerry were dreadful that day, and as well as Meath played, and they seemed to be ahead of the curve in terms of some of the other teams, as how quickly they adapted to the rules after the league, and that they were obviously getting their shooters around the edge of the arc and taking some unbelievable scores. Be what Galway, Dublin, and Kerry in the same championship, which is no mean feat. So to get to the level of performance that you did so quickly after that, talk to us, say, those couple of days, or what's the dressing room like after the Meath game, where you know there's so much more in us, but if we don't get to that, we're not going anywhere soon.
So yeah, there's a few things with the Meath game. So after we won the league and we'd been kind of using the same kick-out strategy, defensive strategy, attacking strategy throughout the championship, and we were kind of going through the motions, probably getting away with it. And in the Meath game, so obviously with the new rules, all coaches and managers are trying different things and trying to see what works best. And and you saw that every team probably lost one game. But so after the Meath game, we realised, look, some of the things we were doing in the league aren't championship tested. So I had to basically strip everything back, change a few things, change a few important things, especially kickouts wise. And as you said, we definitely weren't at the pitch of it aggression wise either against Meath. So that's what we looked at before the Cavan game. So we put all them things together, a new kind of a strategy. We were missing a lot of players against Meath, which is no excuse, but we were missing a lot of important players. You put that together with the new kind of kick-out strategy and more aggression, and then got through the Cavan game and then got us into Croke Park. And we couldn't be less. You could not be motivated to play Armagh, who had just won the All-Ireland, and we had lost Armagh in a game that we could have won. So put all them things together with getting as many fellas back fit as possible. We didn't get everyone back fit, but we still got a lot of important players back fit, and then the likes of the fellas that mightn't have played if everyone was fit really stepped up. Put all them things together with the aggression we had and the football we know we can play. That probably is what led to the 3 big performances then.
Was your attitude and the levels of intensity and aggression that were absent in the Meath game that you clearly brought to the first half of the Cavan game, was that the easiest part of what was needed in terms of fixes? Like, if we bring a bigger attitude,
it was, yeah.
It's easy to do.
It was, definitely. But it's not an easy structure to play, and I know some people like it, but you've 3 group games with only one getting knocked out. It's knowing that you've another 3 or 4 big championship games to play. It's very hard to motivate yourself every day to be at the very aggression wise, to be at the pitch of it. We knew we were qualified as well. Again, not an excuse, but I wasn't on the pitch, so I'm not sure exactly
it's human nature, though. Like,
yeah, and
it feeds in.
And I'm not sure what way the dressing room was, to be honest, because I wasn't in the dressing room or anything like that. But I know when we came back on Monday or Tuesday and did the review, that there was a total different mindset from then on.
This is an unanswerable question. I'm going to ask you anyway. We heard, I remember watching the Sunday game, the evening version of the Sunday game, on the night of the game. I think it was Kieran Whelan said, Meath have done this Kerry team a massive favour. If you had scraped through that game and there wasn't all the hand wringing and the Darrow Shea piece and Jack coming out talking about how the Dubs never seem to hammer their ex-players and you guys feeling disrespected, and David's kind of called to arms after the Cavan match. That extra game in the sunshine of Fitzgerald Stadium at home to work on some of the things that Jack had brought in and Keane in terms of your setup and your structure. So if you had won that Meath game, maybe none of all those little things would have come to pass. And you would have ended up in an All-Ireland quarter-final against a team that were flying. And you wouldn't have gone where you did. It's a total hypothetical, but just what
It's
are your thoughts
possible,
on that?
yeah, it's possible. Like we might have scraped through them a few games, but I think we can say that we wouldn't have had the three massive performances that we did. It might have taken us. Yeah, it's very tough. Even when, like, as you know, Darren, when you're winning games, even if you win by a point, you can always. It's a different feeling after it. You just don't. You're not as critical as yourselves as you should be. Like, so yeah, it's hard to say, but I don't think we would have put in the three performances that we did anyway.
Jack was so animated in the auditorium in Croke Park after the Armagh game. He's throwing F-bombs in and everything, like, and he's never really been known to do that. So it certainly wouldn't have been faux anger. I'm sure it was all genuine. Like, how pissed off were you really as a group by the post-Meath game chatter within the county? I don't think you were being heavily criticised outside of Kerry.
I'm not sure. There was obviously some of the comments that were made. Just, I suppose one of them was to be put out of our misery.
Yeah,
and and I know Dara meant it to get a reaction. So I'd never say anything about Dara. Dara's the man. Yeah,
not in terms of right in saying what he said, but if he was saying those things to get a reaction.
Yeah,
well,
he definitely got a reaction.
He was right.
He got a reaction, yeah. But yeah, I think it was just that, like, we work so hard as a team and the management team, and fellas have wanted to play for Kerry all their lives, and to be told that we'd be put out of our misery is probably, that's why we were so hurt about it, yeah.
And so, is this old school, like, newspaper clippings being blue tacked to the dressing room wall type of stuff? Like, are you talking about it as a group in your big team meetings or in little breakaway groups? Or is Jack talking about it openly? Do you hear what O'Shea was saying about just lads? Are you like a wounded animal just been waiting to receive that final blow and be put out of your misery? Is it actually openly talked about?
No, nothing like that. It's just that, like, everyone probably knows about all the comments that were kind of said all together, and it motivates you. Then, yeah, it motivated us. But again, we're our own biggest critics, and we realised that we underperformed as a team, definitely in some of the last few years. To only have one All-Ireland for the talent that we feel we have, we fully admitted it ourselves. But I think you just used the outside noise as a motivator, just to give you another edge. It's not, you know, that none of the comments are personal or anything like that. We knew that a lot of the comments were true, that we have underperformed in bigger games and lost games that we definitely could have won. It's hard to say you should have won a game and you didn't. But there's a lot of games we could have won, and there's a few more All-Irelands we probably could have. But all we can do is try and rectify it in the next few years.
A lot of the noise from outside, let's say if it was a journalist or whatever, or Dave, people are going, sure, Dave's only looking for attention. There are a few, like, to be fair, like, even when I was playing, the ones that are come from inside, more often than not, they're either, like, players would know as well, but it would hurt more, even if you know it's true. You would.
That's the one that hurts the most, though, when you know it's true.
Like, especially if you go, you know exactly what we're going through. Do you know, there is that kind of, you know, like, why is he saying that? Doesn't matter if he's right. Why is he saying that? There's enough fellas outside of the county but a lot of it is, especially in Kerry, would be our, like you said, in dressing, we're our worst critic. And a lot of the times it is wind up Paudie now, I'll say this now, and we'll see Paudie now, and he'll come out swinging, and you can guarantee with some of the former players, we'll throw the knife in here now, and we'll see the boys come back. You know, there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal, like, so. I definitely think some of my teammates or former teammates would be, I wind them up now. Let's get them fighting now. And
I think
it's
Jack,
a good thing, to be honest. Like,
but Jack was right, Paudie, in that I don't think that does happen with other counties.
no.
I wonder, are Kerry unique in that regard? That you guys throw daggers at each other more
Paudie
so.
Shea was right.
Yeah, it's possible. Probably only it's probably only a bit of crack in it as well at times.
Yeah.
You might hop off each other if we met each other in the street, and that we'd be slagging each other about it. That's the kind of way it is down here. Yeah.
But I like Jack's reaction. Like, I remember a few people saying to me, and I liked his reaction. I actually thought he spoke well after, and I was there going, if I'm a player in the dressing room, I'm delighted with that reaction.
He's batting for you, like.
Yeah. I actually think it worked both ways, because it was going to obviously hurt the boys, which was going to sink or swim. Are we going to come out batting and saying, screw you to these guys, or are we going to sink and prove him right? And then with the management, you're going, man doesn't care who's saying it. He's in our corner.
Yeah.
Like, so I genuinely thought it was a win-win, in terms of, like, poke the bear and let's wait for a reaction. And that is the case. No, I don't actually think other counties do it. They don't do it as well as we do it anyway. But, like, the other people from outside of the county, like, you'd see some of the articles. I don't know, you probably wouldn't see them as much. And I won't read them, to be honest. I'd see it and I'm like, oh, this clown again. Just looking to get a few clicks.
Yeah. The old stock answer from players, going back to your generation of players and now the current generation, when asked, oh, what have you made of some of the stuff that's been said about you? Usually players say, we tune out the outside noise, we don't listen to anything, and kind of we're just in our own bubble and we're controlling the controllables and sticking to the process and all of this bullshit. The way you spoke after the Donegal game, the way your brother spoke after the Donegal game, that just blows all of that out of the water. So can we acknowledge from here on, all of the intercounty hurlers, footballers, camogie players, you do hear this stuff. I'm not saying you actively go after it, but it gets to you via WhatsApp, your mates, your family members. I'm not saying you're actually reading it yourself, but you do hear it. It filters in. Is that correct?
Seems to be.
That's a
I can't speak for anyone else in any other counties.
Just speak for yourself, so.
Yeah. I suppose you don't go looking for it, but you can. It's nearly unavoidable at the moment, whatever the way it is. It's not like before you actually have to buy the paper.
Yeah.
You're obviously not going to buy the paper, but yeah, it seems to come in all right.
So is that true? Like a friend who you might just be playing around the golf with, and Jesus, did you hear what O'Shea was saying about you, or whoever it might be?
No, my friends would never. No, they're too tuned in for that. But
okay.
Mine weren't.
But no, maybe you just might see scrolling on Instagram and see something come up, or something along them lines where it just comes up out of nowhere. Yeah.
So you get through the Cavan game. David is interviewed after the game, and that's where he kind of issues this call to arms. We need everybody. We're taking on the All-Ireland champions in a week's time. We need everybody to come up. Maybe it's like a tacit acknowledgement that Kerry have intended to travel for All-Ireland quarterfinals for any number of reasons, apart from the fact that you're the western part of the country and the cost of everything nowadays is just a sky. I mean, for a family to go from Donegal to Croke Park, 2 kids and a couple of parents, you're looking at a few $100 straight away. I totally get that. But it seemed to work. Like the atmosphere around that Armagh game. Yes, a lot of Armagh people there. Maybe the best supported team, pound for pound in Ireland. But whatever David said, it seemed to work.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's, we know exactly, as you said, it's a very hard and very expensive journey to get from, we'll say, like Waterville, Donegal, all the way up to Croke Park. Very expensive for a family, but I suppose the Kerry crowd maybe didn't realise like that. Obviously, it's very hard to compete with the Dubs with the Hill, but the likes of Armagh, who have a massive following, I don't think the Kerry crowd realised that the Kerry roar can be as loud and can affect a game as much as it did. And I hope now after the last 3 games that they do realise that our crowd can compete with Armagh, Donegal and Tyrone, and can give us that massive lift, especially over a 50-50 ball, things like that. So we've a massive appreciation for the Kerry supporters. There was always a massive Kerry support, like there's always the stalwarts that went no matter what.
Yeah.
So they deserve a lot of credit anyway. But then it was great to get the extra 20% or whatever to come up and just bring the Kerry roar on, and that it definitely made a difference.
So we're going into that Armagh game, where are you fitness wise? Because you've obviously had a really frustrating few weeks before that where you just couldn't get yourself right. Can you talk us through that kind of time period where we're wondering at what point do we see a fully dialed in Paudie flying over the turf as we've seen you do so many times over the last few seasons?
I came on against Cavan and was at only kind of, I suppose, jogging around. And then Tuesday I went to train. The Tuesday before the Armagh, and was it Monday? It was either Tuesday, yeah. And I just struggled. Like I couldn't sidestep or anything. And yeah, I just struggled big time. We kind of made the decision I wasn't going to be starting then on the Tuesday. And then I kind of did everything I could then to try and get back to do something on Thursday to see could I even go on the bench. And Thursday I felt a bit better, so I was a bit more positive, and again did everything I could recovery wise. And Friday still didn't feel great. Saturday, as we were getting on the bus, I was feeling a small bit better. And Sunday, I felt fairly good and did the warm up. But like I told the lads, look, I'm not going to be sprinting or anything in the warm up. I'll just jog through it because I don't want to. I just didn't want like a reaction out of it or whatever. So I just said, right, let the first time it's going to be sore be if I have to go for a sprint. But felt fairly good, yeah, through the warm up, and then I said it to Jack and Keane that I'm good to go here for as long as you need me.
That's a typical Kerry forward. Leg hanging off him. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I can't believe it was that bad.
It was that bad, but it wasn't that bad on the day, to be fair.
For our listeners and our viewers, what was the injury again, and why was it so hard to get right?
It was just like the bottom of my left hammer, and it was like the sheet of, it's like the fascia, it's called, the sheet outside, the sheet that protects the hamstring. It was just like there was scar tissue left and it was still sore. It's like picking at me. There was one point picking, I just couldn't sprint or sidestep.
So was it pain rather than...
It was pain, yeah.
You weren't going to do any more damage?
I suppose...
Could you have actually then really aggravated the hamstring itself if you went full bore?
I suppose I could have, yeah.
Right.
I'd say. But it felt very good then. Felt perfect for the 35 minutes against Armagh. And then from then on I was just managing it really. It was never perfect, but it was never affecting me from the semi, and especially in the final it didn't affect me. So yeah, massive thanks to Paudie McQuinn and Jimmy Galvin, and I was going to a recovery clinic in Therese Ryan in Templemore. They have cryo and oxygen chamber. I was going to that. I had a track warrant to that. And it was a 2.5 hour drive.
Jeez, God.
But I went to that place about.
The drive obviously isn't great for it either.
I don't know, to be honest, but I was chancing it anyway. I went to 8 or 9 times to that.
Are you trying to work as well, like the day job at the same time?
No, I'd go in the evening.
Okay.
I'd go at straight away after work at 5. And yeah, so I did everything.
When you got on the field against Armagh, you were after telling the boys, I'm good to go. I'd say even if you knew you weren't. But it's just a case when you're in the zone of playing, you just didn't think about it. Or were you thinking about it when you were on the pitch at all? I actually thought you were 70, 80, 90%.
I was 80 at that stage. It just obviously, like, it was 4 weeks from when it happened that day. So it wasn't right after 3.5 weeks, but maybe it was getting right after 4 weeks. The few days obviously made a difference. I remember walking on, I was just like, because I suppose I had played so well in the league, and that I was kind of worried I didn't really want to lose out in a year in my prime. So I was walking onto the pitch at half time, and I was kind of walking towards the goal, and I was like, well, I'd have taken this at the start of the week, especially. I was like, full forward. I was right, like walking straight in front of the goal. I was like, full forward for a half. I'd have taken this, and I just went from there. Really, yeah.
I remember I was watching the Armagh game with a friend of mine. That 15-minute spell where Armagh can't win a kick out. I remember saying to him, I don't think I've ever seen such domination over a 15-minute period. Like, they literally just couldn't get their hands on the ball. Do you have any feel for it in the moment when it's happening around you, and you're obviously a pivotal part of what's going on, that we have these guys beaten here? They cannot live with us here. It was an astonishing thing to watch.
I suppose all I'm concentrating on there is when we get a score, getting straight up to the top of the arc to get into my position to press, stop them going short, keep them going long. And I knew the lads were doing an unbelievable job out there on breaks and just winning ball in general. So I suppose you don't even, not for a second do you think about not for a second do you think about like what's going on. You're just in you're in your head. It's like, what's my next job? And you, like a team like Armagh that we know what they're capable of. I wasn't confident till the 70th minute that the game was over, because as you said, we've a lot of respect for that Armagh team. So just to get over them was all we wanted, and obviously for that 15 minutes was the springboard that did it.
So the All-Ireland semi-final against Tyrone, it's comfortable enough. I know there's only a few points in at the end, but never really looked from the outside in that the Tyrone were going to hurt you towards the end. See, you're getting to that final, and I think Donegal were probably just about favourites going into it, but like it was as close to a 50-50 game for an All-Ireland decider that I can remember. How were you guys feeling then going into that game? Were you guys fully confident, as Kerry teams always have been coming to Croke Park for an All-Ireland final, that if you get your performance right, you win?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I remember a few times we were kind of talking to each other, saying we don't know how this is going to go, as in we don't know what Donegal exactly are going to bring, because we hadn't played that Donegal team in the championship yet, so we weren't. We definitely hadn't played them at Croke Park, so we just weren't sure what they were going to bring. But we were confident that if we got everything right and prepared as well as we could, that we were confident that we'd get enough scores. So then we just felt if we could win enough of our kickouts and win enough of Patton's kickouts, and him not beat us over the top with a few, which he's capable of, we were happy enough then that we could come out the right side of it.
The set play involving your captain from the throw-in, I assume that was a set play. That we can work on this all week. If it comes off, it doesn't. If it does, great. But talk about a tone setter, led by the skipper, burying his way down the field, hitting lads with shoulders, pops it off to Dylan Gainey and sending the balls over the bar after like 14 seconds or something. It Kerry's level and tempo and intensity never dropped from that moment.
Yeah, I suppose it was great to get a start like that, and as I said, we just wanted to concentrate on the next kick out, and that's from the Armagh game. That's what we did. Like we just really went after the kickouts, and because we as we said, we felt if we had enough possession that we could beat any team. And then it was just, I suppose, in them moments that you're on top, you have to put the scores on the scoreboard, and that's what we managed to do, which gave us a nice lead. But Donegal did come back strongly and could have got within 3 of us.
I think they kicked 3 wides when they got it to 4. Like Brearty came off the bench and missed one, and that's probably the only period of that second half where you were thinking Donegal may just have them on the run here.
But you know, like you said there, Paudie, in the build up to the game, and it was which way it'll go, and it was all, will they do it with McGuinness, and you're kind of going, what are Donegal going to bring here? They're going to bring something different. You must have been very surprised playing the game and getting your first couple of balls and going, looking around the place, looking for somebody to be and getting all this time. And like you said, the new rules weren't brought for you to be soloing 100 times on the spot. You must have been looking around going, what is going on here? They're setting me up for something. It was a strange game watching on and watching you. and you were dictating and getting the world of ball. I was there, he's going to be exhausted from just soloing the ball here.
Was that scenario broached at all when you're sitting there thinking, we haven't played this Donegal team in the championship and we haven't played them at Croke Park? This is kind of a suite of potentials. Was one of those that nobody's going to mark you around the arc?
We probably there was either gonna, I suppose there was going to be three options. They were either going to just man mark David, leave me and Shawnee, man mark me and David, or man mark the three of us. We kind of figured that it wasn't going to be man marking the three of us because that would affect their system.
Yeah,
to have three out of their system.
We're totally moving away from that zonal setup.
Exactly. So I was thinking it was between the two options. I was obviously leaning towards that I would be man marked.
Were you hoping it would be David and Shawnee that were getting man marked?
Yeah. I was kind of saying to myself that there was definitely a possibility that it would be the case. So we had worked a lot on me being outside the arc, and we put an extra man in defence, a 12th man in defence, in training all week to really try and have to pick through bodies, but where I was on the arc, on the top of the arc unmarked, so it was something we had planned for, right? Yeah.
And obviously then you execute your role incredibly well, but it must have been an unbelievably enjoyable game of football for you to play in, because I can't really remember. You did beat a couple of defenders with that kind of sidestep that you've developed so much in your game that you admit you were struggling with just a few weeks earlier with the injury. But like, they didn't lay a glove on you. You're coasting through the game, 76 touches, got your scores, you've got your assists, and no one has really hit you a dig of any consequence. I mean, that is fairy tale stuff on All-Ireland final day.
Just I suppose as I was happy it worked out like that, and that I was able to affect the game as I did. Because
how was it not changed though? How did you do?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of days where I've been man marked and someone stuck to you, and there's been plenty of other fellas not man marked and haven't affected games like that. So it was nice to get a bit of freedom for a change and be able to affect the game.
So this halftime Hooter score, I assume you've seen the footage from the Hogan stand, have you?
Yeah.
That's it's just incredible to watch. And anyone watching us on YouTube or listening to us on whatever app they're using for their podcast, make sure, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure most of you have, it's just this 60-second reel of David Clifford up against his marker, Brendan McCall, and time slows down, the Hooter goes, Paudie's toe tapping the ball to himself in the middle of the field, nobody going near you. So you know the time, we've worked on this. Is David your only option? Are you just waiting for him to make that run?
No, I would have been David, Shawnee or Dylan Gainey, someone that was going to kick, because we knew it was going to have to be a 2-pointer really, as they were marking so deep.
But you'd already kicked a 2-pointer yourself in that first half. Why wouldn't you take it on yourself, given the space you had?
It was just going to depend on who was going to get the space, yeah. But it was just, like I suppose the hard thing for Brendan McCall was that I could have went at any time and David could have went at any time, and he wasn't going to know exactly when.
Like when you, with the term playing it on your terms, that is the quintessential definition of playing game on your terms.
It was a bit,
even just what you just said.
Yeah, it was a bit like in the NFL where if the quarterback gets loads of time and the pressure, there's no pressure on him.
Yeah.
Well, it's impossible for the cornerback then, because you can stay with him for so long, but you're not going to be able to stay with him for. That went on for about a minute, yeah.
And the crowd are starting to boo you.
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. I was like, what do they want me to do? They hardly want me to kick it out of play or something. Give Donegal another kick.
I was actually watching. I was there, he's going to miss solo this because he's getting bored and the crowd were booing and we were just soloing, looking around, and I was there, he's definitely going to miss solo this or something.
So you pop it off to David, he swings it over. His reaction is brilliant. Like, God, he is, and you too, and a few of the Kerry boys, you've really started to celebrate big scores now in a way that seemed to kind of left the GAA. So diligent are players in getting back to their starting position for the restart. How big a moment did that feel like it was? Because even in the aftermath, Jim McGuinness talked about that score. He said 5 points, we haven't really played any football. Manageable, not the worst. The 7 points just felt different. Did it feel different to you guys walking off the field? And with the manner you got it in as well.
It was obviously great to get it, but we remember Donegal in Monaghan, Donegal, and Bacon got a very similar score just before half time. So that actually probably kept us focused. We were like, Donegal came out very strongly against Monaghan, and we're going to do the same. So we, not for 1 second did we rest in our laurels and say, oh, seven's enough here. We were saying, remember Monaghan, remember.
But the Cork
Bacon
hurlers mentioned by any chance?
What's that?
The Cork hurlers, like.
No, we didn't think about it, but just keep on going, keep to our processes, and just keep on hammering the hammer, I suppose. Because as I said, we knew we also knew how fit this Donegal team was, so we knew they were never going to die. So I think even the Monaghan score probably helped us. You couldn't even think about relaxing, because that put Monaghan up 6, so it would have been a similar. Yeah, it would have been a similar story. Yeah, so
you actually go out. I was asked for my prediction. Not that anyone gives two shits about what my prediction was going to be, but it was before the game. We were doing some work pitch side, and my prediction for the game was Kerry have the firepower to win this by 5 to 6 points, but if Donegal take them down the stretch, I think Donegal might win it by 1 or 2, because we had this perception of them as being the fittest team in Ireland, that the last quarter of games, they just don't, their sprint ability, is that what how Ger Brennan described? Their ability just to make these repeat sprints again and again and again. And yet you guys won the second half by 3. You finished up with the goal, a couple of big scores as well, the 2-pointer from Shawnee. Is this the fittest and best conditioned Kerry team that you've ever been involved with?
It is, I think, yeah, it is. I think it's like, I suppose all of us a lot of us are coming to our peak, and it's just like through years of hard work. It's not like that we worked extra hard in the gym, or we might have done a bit more on the pitch, started a bit earlier, but I think it's just us coming to our peak years, and our bodies developing. And then, as you said, there might have been 1 or 2 fellas that might have felt they were a bit heavier, or the opposite, needed to put on a bit of muscle. That did that this year, and I know for a fact the hunger is going to be there to try and be fitter and stronger again for next year.
Is Jack going to be with you next year?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't heard. I wasn't talking to him about it or anything like that. But
yeah, it's like
I think he should. Yeah.
Jack's thing was I might hand it on. It was a, come on Patrick, come on, give me the offer now. Jack was, I just feel like Paudie said there, like that team is coming, like they're all at great age.
So much left in them.
Jack would be crazy to leave.
And it's the one thing that is missing on the CV is going back to back. You know, he handed the reins over to Pat there in 2007, and he went and did it. So Jack still hasn't, for all of his achievements, 5 All-Irelands, like he's second only to Micko and Jim Gavin. It must be hugely tempting to be there for a tilt at the repeat.
I'd imagine so, but like we were just saying there, like this team is it's not even at the peak of its powers, to be honest. Like it's only moving into that stage, and the squad, which was supposedly not strong enough 6 or 8 weeks ago, is all of a sudden massively strong. Probably lose very few players, if any. This year there's bound to be 1 or 2 coming into it. I just think this team is set up in a great place, and like that you've won All Ireland before and realise, it doesn't happen every year. And you've had to have a couple of years where you didn't win it, and like even you go back to the Armagh game last year, we talk about the support. I genuinely believe that day when I was up there that the support got them over the line, because it just drove them on, and we didn't travel in numbers that day, but the connection that's with this team now, and the supporters, and the demographic of the team, I think, like, I can't see Jack going in. Or me personally, I just think this team's in a great place, because they've had good times, but they've had a couple of tough times as well. Like, so
that squad depth, Paudie, like you mentioned, Mark O'Shea, he probably wouldn't have been starting an All-Ireland final if everyone's fit. Thomas Sullivan doesn't even get back, one of the best defenders in the country. Barry Dan never got back. He's obviously going to be frothing at the mouth to get involved next season. Dylan Gainey a lot of people thought if Paul Gainey's fit, he'll be the man to miss out. Kicked 3 from play, was everywhere during the game. And there's probably a couple. Joe O'Connor, I mean, what a season Joe O'Connor has had. That you will have injuries next season, but like every county will have to deal with, both the strength and depth now because of the adversity you've had to go through over the last 2 months. If everyone's fit, my God, that is some match day 26.
Yeah, it's exciting. But it's just, that I suppose our squad depth was underrated because of the Meath game, and that I suppose what was blamed was squad depth, but what the actual issue was, I suppose it was probably more structurally and mentally even in that game. No matter who was there, I think Meath could have beaten us. So the squad depth is very underrated, but it's obviously going to be very important on all them lads to keep pushing on. It's no good doing it for 1 year. We need to keep pushing on. We need to keep bringing out the best in each other. Winning one more, still winning 2 All-Irelands isn't enough for this team, so we need to keep going.
If you walk around pretty much any county in Ireland with 2 All-Ireland medals, you're a hero. There's not an awful lot of currency with 2 in Kerry, though, is there, unfortunately?
Well, I wouldn't. There's
not enough to walk around with bags full of them.
There's nothing wrong with 2 All-Irelands, but there wouldn't be much point us in our peak years resting on our laurels now and not trying to win more. And I know how tough it's going to be because I know Dublin are going to be back. Armagh will be back. Tyrone are really building. Galway, Mayo, the northern teams. It's going to be very competitive. But I'm looking forward to having another go at it.
The Jubilee team was obviously the 2000 team this year, and to see Maurice Fitz there, like one of the all-time greats in the eyes of some people, it's him and David, and he only had 2. Like, it's astonishing. And
timing's everything, and you can just get lucky. Like, you could have a great player and good players around him, but just might be just bad luck. Like, sometimes you look at the Dublin team that conquered all and before and after him for 5 or 6 years. Sometimes you just come up against teams that are just in a better place at the time as well. Like, but this team is stacked, and as you were vocal about after, like, it's not a one-man team. Obviously, like, we're lucky in Kerry that we have a spine of exceptional footballers there at the moment. That if one fella's a bit off, another guy can carry the can. But like you said, there's nothing to, you don't throw your nose up to 2 All-Irelands, but
this one-man team stuff, Paudie, sure, it doesn't rest easy with David, and it's clearly bullshit because there's likes yourself and Shawnee O'Shea and just brilliant footballers, Paul Gainey, all that he's achieved, and Paul Murphy and all of these guys. Is it ever talked about within the group?
No, not that one. No. I suppose it's just lazy journalism, really. And I know Dave was saying it as well. Is it to soften him? Things he was worried that it was trying to soften him. So that it's coming
from a negative place and not one of praise.
So. No, yeah, right. Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Can we go back, kind of not quite back to the start, but just give us a bit of insight into your relationship with Dave. There's about 18 months between you in age? You're 28, are you? He's 26.
No, there's 2.5 years between us.
Okay, so as children, I know you have a sister as well. As children, were you close enough in age to actually be on the field together, in the garden together, playing football together all of the time, or were you like, he's too young for me, I'm not hanging around with that lad?
No, we were playing together all the time. We played non-stop outside, and then we played together underage with Fossa as well, with the school, everything, because numbers wouldn't have been that high. So he was always corner forward on our under 14 team when he was 11. I'll say under 12 team when he was 9. So we played together every year, I'd say, for the last since about under 8s. Yeah.
Right. That's
amazing. So even though there's 2.5 years, even when all my friends used to come over playing, he was playing with us.
You'd no choice but to toughen up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Must have helped him really.
Yeah.
And so we all remember kind of those minor finals where it just looks unfair. Like, what does he score? 4 or 8 from play or something against Derry in an All-Ireland final. And it looks like it's a senior footballer playing against minors, and he goes straight into the senior team the following year for 2018. When he's playing out under 12s, age 9, and playing under 14, age 11, is he already this like standout player who is head and shoulders above those around him, and being spoken about in these almost hushed tones that we've got another potential Kerry great coming through the pipeline. How early does that chatter start?
I suppose when he was around, probably maybe under 14, under 16, like playing with us, he was just good. He was very good, obviously, but obviously wasn't head and shoulders above. It's 3 years. There's a lot of developing in 3 years. But again, he was always a starter. He was always playing very well. But I suppose maybe I'm not 100% sure. I suppose
I think it was schools.
maybe like Fruin Cup and
Yeah.
which would be under 15 and a half, would it, or 16 and a half? I suppose that was when. I know he was obviously always putting up big scores for Fossa underage, but like plenty good players are putting up big scores in lower divisions. But I think it was Fruin Cup maybe, yeah.
And so I'm keen to get an insight as to, were you David Clifford's brother in these years? Obviously, you've turned out to be an unbelievable player in your own right, and as important to this Kerry team as David is. But when he's scoring that brilliant goal against Monaghan and Clonus, kind of his first big senior moment, you're winning an All-Ireland junior title with Kerry.
Yeah, same day, yeah.
And no one's talking about you. Fossa haven't really transcended Kerry football as yet. I'm certain in 2018, before David is in the Kerry team, I haven't heard of Fossa being a junior club in Kerry. Like, do you grow up being David's brother as opposed to being Paudie Clifford, a man in your own right?
I never thought of it like that. I was just trying to, I suppose I developed a bit later, and I was just trying to do my own thing, get to try and improve as much as I could. And after that Kerry Junior, that All Ireland, that's when my career really started. Because I won the Sigerson then with UCC in 2019. Went to America, had a great time and played well in America.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. And then when I came back, played very well in the county championship for East Kerry, and that's when probably I could have been called in.
You actually should have been called in.
It was then
a year or two before you were.
It was then. Yeah, it was 2000. It was for the 2019 season.
Was there frustration?
There was.
The call didn't come earlier than did.
Yeah, there was frustration that time. But again, I just I always loved playing with the Fossa seniors because we had a great bond, and we just everyone was like on my side, I felt, and so then I just went back doing that, loved it, and just I suppose I went from there. Really just played it well. I actually got man of the match in the county final then with East Kerry.
Was that the game? Was that the one you beat us?
No, that was the year after that. It was the first one we won. We played Crokes in the final. I got man of the match in the final. So I was brought in after that.
The divisional setup is obviously something that's not unique to Kerry. I know they have it in Cork as well, and to a lesser extent in counties like Tipperary. But you are a prime example, I put it to you, of the genius behind that setup. If you're playing with a really small club outside Killarney, obviously not getting the headlines that Legion and Crokes will be getting in that part of the world, and if you didn't have the opportunity to play at that level, at senior championship level within the county, maybe you don't get your break. Like, that is why it's so important to every aspiring footballer from a small club in Kerry. The divisional setup gives you the chance to show what you can do on that stage. Yeah,
very possible. Like, it's worked very well for Kerry in general. Like South Kerry, which is a very strong division, you have the likes of Declan, Killian Young, them kind of players we're probably seen anyway. But there's very strong tradition in some divisions, and I suppose then it's kind of just used. The county championship is used for the Kerry selectors and management team to really see if you're at say if you play well at club championship level, they might say, right, we'll keep an eye on this fella now for the county championship. And if he's able to do it at that level, well, he is good enough to come in then. And you see that last year with 6 or 7 lads that were called in were flying at county championship level, and that's why they were called in. And it just showed they were able to adapt straight away. So if you can play county championship in Kerry and play well, you've a chance then, yeah.
So kind of looking forward, I mentioned that the celebration that David did when he kicks that 2-pointer that you lay off to him just before half time. I don't know, is this something that was kind of triggered by the loss of your mother a couple of years ago, or that he's kind of getting appreciating more of the big moments because you win the All-Ireland 22 and you maybe didn't celebrate it enough, doesn't come along every year, that he's like, if I make a big play, I'm going to enjoy it, I'm going to celebrate it. You seem to be cut from a similar cloth, that you're expressing yourselves more this year than previous years. Am I kind of misreading into that, or is that an actual thing that with you two in particular that has maybe just come about over these last 6 months? A lot of fist pump, a lot of chest thumping, a lot of kind of arms up to the crowd. We love it. It just seemed to have gone from the game. I think the Dubs might be responsible for that. Get back into position, lads. No celebrations.
It's a great way of showing fellas' characters as well. Like, and like it was nearly frowned upon for celebrating. You do something great, you're nearly afraid to smile, you know, and not get back in position, whatever. Like, I just think it engages the whole crowd. I wasn't sure if it was a personal decision or is it just emotion. Like, Donaghy was actually a big man for...
He was great at it, yeah.
Donaghy was brilliant for it, and I think he would have said it possibly to David, celebrate these things. Like my thing is celebrate like mad, bring in a couple of Lee Sharp, Ryan Giggs celebrations from back in the day.
Yeah, I suppose, I don't think it's not something you think about, but it just shows, I suppose it's a show of passion, and we kind of just, like, in my own head said we kind of start enjoying it a bit more, and Jack is great for that. Like, Jack just lets you do what you do once you play well. He's great for it, but like, yeah, it's just, I suppose it's just a way of enjoying it a bit more, and we're all big soccer fans, so probably got it from that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I can remember, was it the 2017 All-Ireland semi-final where Con scores that goal against Tyrone? Or was that the final where he gets a goal against Tyrone? This unbelievable goal. Not barely a flicker of emotion. I just think you've just done something that you've been dreaming of doing. Now, maybe that's just Con's personality. Everybody's different, but if you make a big play, you need to celebrate it a little bit. Your willingness to express yourself in interviews and off the field. Like, I remember your speech when you won the All-Ireland club title, mentioning the referee, talking about...
He's more polished now.
That's a few years ago, yes, and maybe you're a bit more experienced in that regard now, but I just feel that kind of character, and it's tied in with the conversation around celebrating big goals. We don't see these players' characters out there often enough nowadays. Has anyone ever said to you, you need to curb that a little? Or the management teams you've been involved with, they're happy for you to go do your thing, be yourself?
No, never. I've never done anything like to harm the team or anything like that during the season. Nothing like that. So never said anything. And there is loads of characters out there, and maybe as we're kind of moving in towards players being a bit more open again, I think we'll see a lot of good characters in the next few years.
Has this been the most enjoyable year of football since? Maybe certainly get into the Kerry senior panel with the rule changes and the way this Kerry team has obviously come together around you. It's because we're seeing this and feeling like this was the best championship of the last 25 years.
Yeah, it was, to be honest. Like, I usually never really enjoyed the league, but for the first time I enjoyed the league this year even the away games, Pomeroy, Tyrone, playing Tyrone and Pomeroy on a windy day. It was a great atmosphere there. Really enjoyed that. So yeah, I suppose if you're enjoying the league, it must be a good year.
Yeah, like the crowd that was in Tralee for Dublin Kerry. I was at the Athletic Grounds for Armagh Dublin. It was a sellout. The buzz came back really quickly. People were obviously hibernating on this game, and when the F4C did what they did, almost overnight it felt, people were back. They just wanted to watch Gaelic football.
Yeah, exactly. Like football and hurling are like sacred in Ireland, aren't they? Really, like every kid when they go to school and they grow up and want to play football and want to play hurling, even if it's only under sixes, under eights. If they want to play for their local senior team, everyone wants to play. It's they are the two greatest sports in the world, aren't they? Really, like, and
no one wants to be a sweeper though. No one wants to be part of a blanket defence with like one lad inside the opposition 45. Like, remember the Kerry Derry game last year?
100.
We've talked about on this podcast in recent weeks as being almost like the final straw, where people were watching and going, Jesus, we cannot watch this anymore. You played in that game. Like, it's just night and day in comparison to where we are now. Lamenting the fact that the championship is over. Whereas this time last year, we were like,
Thanks be to
thank
God.
God, that's done.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the problem was that the only way to play against a defensive system was to be defensive yourself, because you're not going to push all your bodies up and leave yourself open at the back. And it just meant it left no room for you just couldn't, like, there was no real different tactics you could use, could you?
I was safety first. Everything was safe.
It left no room for creativity, like.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's going to be different styles that the top managers are going to use, and it's going to be very interesting. Like, we'll say the system that Donegal used, their defensive system, they'll probably make a few tweaks to that, and what you could see that they could still be the best defensive team in the country. But it's going to be exciting, and there's room for creativity with both the kickouts and the defensive and attacking systems.
That's from a collective point of view, but on an individual basis, we're seeing more dummy hops, more dummy solos, more lads dropping the shoulder and beating the first man up. Because 18 months ago, like that little sidestep you've introduced to your game, what was the point? Because you're going to get hit by the next fella as soon as you beat the first defender. I mean, you were going to take the ball into contact. If it was against a northern team, you were essentially at risk of giving them the turnover that is the oxygen on which they crave that to be able to put their game plan into place. Now we're seeing the individual, and it's ultimately a team sport built on the brilliance of some individuals, and we're seeing that now more and more. We're talking about forwards all the time. The footballer of the year almost certainly is going to be a forward again this year. We're seeing the high fielding, we're seeing the contest, the breaking ball, like the Paul Galton of this world. Nearly the most important player in your team now. You talked about the breaks earlier. You have to be the dog that's willing to hoover up those breaks. It's all come back. It's like we've gone back in time 25 years, and it's magic.
Yeah, but like we talked about Jack earlier, and Jack loves characters, but Jack loves kicking as well. And I think everything about the game. The only negative I have about the game now is they didn't do it 15 years ago. It's the only thing I can give out about. But like, it promotes.
Just so we can side with your career, like.
Yeah, 100%. And then I wouldn't have had to watch some of the other games. But it promotes all the things that you grow up wanting to do. Catching ball, kicking ball, dummy hops, dummy solos, all the stuff that we want.
Long range scores. Yeah,
it just promotes everything that we work on as a kid. Or if you're kicking ball with your mates, that you're trying them outside boots from outside the arc. You know, so it's like, for me, like you said, the season now is too short. We want to extend it out a bit further, even though I know the players love it the way it is. But everything about the game now is exciting. You know, you were saying there about you don't know what Donegal are going to bring, but no matter what they bring, you know you're going to be able to play your own game as well. Like, so before it was a case of, oh, they're going to bring this defensive system. All right, we have to change our game 100% here, and we have to be safe with the ball and controlled and measured. Whereas now it's a case of, we can leave the shackles off a small bit, and we can go and play and express ourselves. And we talked about their characters and personality. They're all coming to the fore. And you want, like, Joe O'Connor's a great man for the celebrations as well. And that brings more energy, and that brings a connection with the fans. And then that connection is heard by the players, and that brings more. Everything just, it's like a cycle. It just goes into each other. So for me, it's only a pity that the season finishes now, but you'd be itching for it to restart again next year.
Does Joe O'Connor shine as he did this year under last year's rules when he plays the game?
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Just
as
as
easy.
one example.
Definitely wouldn't be as easy. Like, he's obviously he's a very good high fielder, but he's very good at taking a man on one-on-one, and there just wasn't the one-on-ones there. And as you were saying there, like, even though the one-on-ones at the moment it looks like, oh, it's all for the forwards, but like, you're going to see some unreal one-on-one defending in the next few years as well, like that. And back to the likes of the Mark O'Shea battles, or the battles of Mark O'Shea would have had Keith Higgins and James O'Donoghue.
Yeah.
Them one-on-one battles are going to be back. And then you've the high fielding, which brings in the likes of the Darragh O'Sheas and the great midfielders of the past. And then one-on-one forwards taking fellas on and be able to score. look, sure, it's going to be very exciting, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, we've seen enough of the inside forwards having to turn back outside. So the goal that David got against Cavan in the first half, where he beats one defender and he's in on goal. Whereas 12 months ago, he might have beaten that cornerback, but then he was going to run straight into a sweeper. Or the score that he got off McCall down the Hogan stand side in the All-Ireland final. He was the only guy he had to beat. Drives inside, swings the ball over with his right foot. Who doesn't want to see that all the time? More and more and more often in games, we're getting to see those moments.
Cornerbacks. They're the only ones. But like Paudie said, it was an art that was gone. Defending, like we always go back to Mark Shea and Kerry, the way he moved his feet. He'd make cornerback play good to watch. And it was definitely something that was highlighted throughout the year, and a few managers were giving out about frees and we're harshly treated. But it's definitely a game that's leaning towards the forward, but it's going to start evening itself out now, and teams can focus on other aspects of the game, like the cornerback play, like the defending, and like there's still tweaks going to be happening in the game. But I just think the game is in such a place at the moment. It's unbelievable. Just wish I was younger.
Yeah, you might still do a job.
Over 35s.
Exactly, yeah. And someday Paudie will be old enough to play in the over 35s with it. So give us a kind of a map out the next 6 months, because again, for those of our viewers and listeners who aren't overly familiar with the structure in Kerry, you will be playing in the Kerry Intermediate Football Championship with Fossa. You'll play the Divisional County Championship with East Kerry. Then you'll play the Divisional Championship later in the year, will you? The East Kerry Championship.
We'll see.
You may not be playing, but it will be happening.
Yeah, it will be happening.
There's to be matches there for you to play if you want all the way up to Christmas Day.
Will, yeah.
So you've got it's first week in August. You've got an awful lot of football still to play.
Yeah, exactly. Like now, what I'm be trying to just get the body right for the intermediate, which is number one for us over the next few months. The intermediate is the one we want. So there'll be this weekend, and I think it's 6 weeks in a row if you get to the final.
Right.
So that'll be fairly full on. And after that, then county championship. But we'll have to see what way the body is for that. Number one is getting the body right for this weekend, and then on, and giving absolutely everything to that. And we'll go from there.
So it's your first county championship, obviously, under the new rules. So we talk about Donegal trying to decide whether they're going to man mark David, Paudie and Shawnee, or two of the three, or one of the three, or none of the three. I can't imagine what it's like for a Kerry Junior Championship side or a Kerry Intermediate Championship side trying to figure out whether they mark you and David, or one of the two of you, or go man on both of you. Now, those new rules, you're going to get freedom at club level that you have been denied since you started playing football at adult level.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll actually be very interesting to see how it works out Saturday and from Saturday on. But I know like the standard is very high in the intermediate in Kerry, and the teams have played 11 county league games, isn't it?
11, I think.
11 county league games at a very competitive, like they're all competitive games. So teams will have figured things out. It's not like they're going cold. So teams will have figured things out, and I'm sure teams will have a plan for us, but hopefully we can, I suppose, just get the better of it, and it'd be just great to have a good run.
Yeah, good luck putting a plan in place to deal with the Clifford brothers at club level.
Them plans are great before you get out on the pitch.
Listen, Paudie, it's been brilliant having you up. Thanks so much for coming out to talk to us. What a year. League, Munster and All-Ireland champions, and you've got that second All-Ireland medal tucked away, and you'll be hoping it's the second of many still to come. You've brought the curtain down on season 2 of the podcast, and you're just another illustrious name on a long list of names. I hope you enjoyed it, that we didn't make it too uncomfortable for you. We might come back at the end of your career in maybe a decade's time when you're up there with Pat and Ger Power and Mikey Sheehy with 8. But thanks a million. Really appreciate you coming up.
Cheers, thanks lads.
Only 6 more medals to go.
Yeah, it won't be easy.
So there you have it. That is season 2 in the books. Huge appreciation to Paudie for joining us, for Darren as well, who's soldiered in the square ball trenches with me so often at times this season. I want to say a special word of thanks to all of our brilliant guests. to a couple of lads who we never really mentioned on the podcast, Alan O'Knan and Evan Fanning, who are brilliant producers, to all of the engineers and sound technicians that have worked with us over the last few months as well and have looked after us. Of course, to our sponsors, William Hill. Without them, we simply wouldn't be able to put this podcast together. And to our viewers and our listeners, of course, on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, get us above those 10,000 marker. There wouldn't be any point to the podcast if everybody out there wasn't listening and watching us and engaging with us and talking to us over the course of the season. So a huge thanks to all of you. The great news is that we have big plans and we are not going away. We're just going to go into hibernation for a little while. There's another use of that word, but we are coming back. We cannot wait to bring you some more brilliant guests on the Square Ball podcast. So until we speak again, we have mentioned many times, you can get us on YouTube at the Square Ball Pod. You can get us on Twitter and Instagram at William Hill Ireland. Stay in touch with us. If you're only new to it and maybe Paudie's episode is the first one you've listened to, there's so much goodness still to wade through in season 1 and season 2. The vast majority of the episodes will not have dated in any way. They are not time sensitive, outside maybe the odd All-Ireland hurling or football final preview that we might put in there. So dig into the archives, stay involved, stay engaged, and keep in touch on all those platforms that we have mentioned earlier. That is us done, over and out. We'll chat to you again soon.